but
Yeah.
other people might not, but.
Okay, this meeting of the Board of Education is called to order. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, thank you to all of you for being here this evening. We'll get started by approving our agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda as presented?
Nothing for me.
You have a motion, please, on page 2.
I move that we approve the agenda as.
Thank you, Mary Lou. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. We'll proceed with our agenda as presented and go where we always go, to the superintendent's report.
Well, thank you. So our first item on the agenda is a bond project update, and instead of having the familiar face you're used to presenting the report, we have some excited and willing students from Haverhill that will be introduced to you by their principal, Mr. Jeremy Zontz, and they're going to do the presentation this evening. So, a little added excitement to our board meeting. Jeremy?
Well, thank you very much. I would love to share with you how excited we are as a Haverhill community. And we had the opportunity, as these 4 students and Mrs. Eby as well, to go and tour the building. And all of our students had their cameras and took pictures and copious notes so that they could present this slide deck for you. One of the things I'd like to tell you is how we decided to select these students. And so Owen, Noel, Lucy, and Terrell all wrote an essay sharing why they would be a great reporter and how they could share with our students. And so after we spent some time looking through all of the essays that were written, these 4 students were selected, and they got to share many of the things that they're excited about. So we're super excited to have this opportunity to share why we are so excited about this beautiful building that we're about to have. So without any further ado, I'd like to call up our 4 friends. They're going to talk nice and loud. We've practiced twice on our morning announcements, and all of our students had an amazing time hearing all of their reports. So here we go.
Hello, my name is Terrell, and this is some of my information about our new school. I saw the main office where Miss Campbell and Miss Ingersoll will be sitting, as well as Mr. Zantz's office, which is separate. Then I saw the teacher's lounge. I also saw the classrooms and how they connect together because of the way we do group learning. In addition, there was an elevator, big staircase, and a big art room. I'll learn next year that it will take us students a while to get used to the way things work in the new school. I'm excited about the library, music room, art room, cafeteria, and the MTSS rooms. I'm extremely excited about the gym and that all the rooms are big and the new school will have air conditioning. Here are some of the questions I asked myself. What is the length and width of the gym? It looks enormous. How exciting will it be for all the students and teachers on the first day of school? Their jaws will drop and it will be breathtaking.
My name is Lucy, and these are my ideas. When you walk in, you will see the main office, and you will see Mr. Zon's office and the health room. Then if you walk out, then you will see the library and the stairs, and we will have stairs for music. we can use the stairs for music performance. I'm excited about the library because the library is now small and the new library is a lot bigger. So that means more books. Also, that will be good for learning for students and teachers. And the elevator can be useful for disabled people. Lastly, the art room can be huge enough for students and art projects. I will want to do next year is do a book club in the hall because I love to read. Also, we can do it after school and we can do it in the library too. Next, we have new furniture, supplies, and learning. In closing, our furniture is darker than Central School. Lastly, I will learn how to be a safety and cooperate with the new kindergarten classrooms.
Hi, my name is Hi, my name is Owen. These are my findings I found interesting and I would like to share. What I saw, these are the things I was most excited to see. Sitting stairs to the left, also in the picture, is a good path to the second floor. There's a TV to watch because it is in front of the library room. And the library room on top of it has a TV. And it's a good way to study. There's a huge cafeteria with fancy tables, and in that cafeteria there's a quiet cove to study in peace and for people who need less sound in the cafeteria. There are bathrooms everywhere, and there is a playground for 3rd through 5th graders and a separate one for young 5s through 2nd. What I'm excited about? I'm excited about the biggest gym in the district. I'm also excited about learning how to be a safety. And these are 2 pictures of bathrooms. What I'll learn next year. I will learn about being a safety in the new crosswalk, and I will learn my way to school. Hi, my name is Noelle, and these are my ideas for the new school. What I saw the shared bathrooms, and I saw where the new playground is going to be. I saw the gym and the elevator. I saw the downstairs and upstairs classrooms. The last thing I saw was where the 5th grade classrooms are going to be. What I'm excited about. I'm excited about the new library and special rooms. There is more storage in the music room. The gym has a wall, and the art room connects with the library. All of the rooms are bigger in the new school. I am excited for all of the rooms and the new playground. What I'll learn next year. I will learn how to get around the new school and learn how to climb up the new rock wall. I will also learn how to be a safety. Other things is the outside areas for library and art room. There's a view of a kind of foresty area. There's nice furniture. There are 2 floors. There's a better view in the new school. There's new playground areas, the Collin bus loop, and the MTSS.
See, our 4th grade students did an amazing job of putting this presentation together. It was through all of their hard work and curiosity that we were able to present today. I would like to give Mrs. Eby a special thank you for her guiding hand as these students prepared that booth. Does anyone have any questions for our Hornets?
How big is Mr. Zantz's office? Is it as big as the gym? No, not quite.
Well, thank you again for this opportunity.
Great job.
Thank you.
Great job.
All right, someone's got to follow this. And I'm going to introduce Kelly Jensenius, who will introduce Lindsay to talk about early childhood programming. may want to wait just a second while they empty.
Well, that's a tough act to follow, but we're going to do our very best. Good evening, Superintendent Beeling and trustees. It's my pleasure to introduce you tonight, Lindsay French. She's our new PPS Director of Early Childhood. She's been here since end of July, early August. In the district for how many years now, again? 8 years. It seems longer. But tonight what she's going to do is guide you through our early childhood programming as it was, as it exists today, and then where we're headed in the 25-26 school year. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to you, Lindsay, and welcome tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I did not bring any students with me tonight. My students are 3 and 4, and that could have been quite a presentation. Good evening, Superintendent Beeling and trustees. I'm here tonight to talk to you guys about the exciting next steps we have for curious kids here at Portage Public Schools as part of our early childhood programming. I want to kind of just take a moment and kind of dive into a little bit of the evolution of early childhood and curious kids and how that has transformed through our district. I know it's been a few years since early childhood has presented at the board in the community, so we'll take a little trip down memory lane just so I can bring everyone up to speed. This I found in our archives. This is one of the first articles to come out in 1985. This is when we had our initial program open, and it was through our community adult education program here at Portage. And they had a one-room classroom for all of our students. And currently, during that time, they had the students who were enrolled in that program having their own children in that program, so they could receive quality child care while they were completing their diploma or graduation requirements. After that, they transitioned from building blocks to become what it is today, Curious Kids. And that transitioned into an infant and toddler program, a vast amount of preschool programs, which we'll talk about a little bit today, and then before and after care as well. In 1996, the program exploded and began to serve over 1,100 children throughout the district. This was in various different areas. The primary area was Curious Kids. However, within the local elementaries too, there was before and after school programming as well. With that, we came to 2022. That is when the needs of the community responded, and there was a look for supporting our earliest learners for before and after care as well as summer programming. So Portage Public Schools developed a partnership with Primetime through the YMCA, and that in a sense took over and allowed for early childhood programming for before and after care as well as summer programming in our local 8 elementary buildings, and that is still what is occurring today in our K-5 buildings. So currently, this is what Curious Kids and our early childhood programming looks like present day. Throughout the week, we have a total of 175 children that come in and out of our doors every day. With that, we have a variety of programs. We have our Safe Harbor program, which is our infant and toddler program, our 2-year-old, 3-year-old, and 4-year-old preschool, along with wraparound care. And those hours of operation are from 7 to 5:30, full-time year-round programming. We also have our Bright Beacon preschool, and those are half-day preschool options, and that is for our 3-year-old and our 4-year-old preschool programming as well. We also house speech services, so we collaborate with our ESI Special Education Department, and they are housed within our CEC building, and they provide a variety of walk-in speech services. Some of you might be familiar with Speech Sprouts as one of the interventions, and that is for children who qualify for that program. Some of those students also access our preschool programs in conjunction with the speech services as well. And then lastly, we have our special education programming. That's our early childhood special education. That is a program that we have that includes a mixed model of services for students to help meet all of their diverse needs through preschool programming. Now, we're moving into what the vision is going to be looking like for moving into the next school year. So as many of you have heard about, we have the high quality pre-K for all that has been recently advertised through our Portage Public School communication media, as well as articles through MLive and other avenues. That pre-K for all initiative, if some of you are not familiar with that, came out of Governor Whitmore's initiation to provide high quality free education and programming to access for all of our youngest learners in the state. And under that umbrella is our GSRP program, which some of you may be familiar with. Currently, our GSRP programming is run through KRESA programs. It houses our Portage Public School students, and it's currently at Woodland Elementary this year. Head Start programming is also at Woodland Elementary this year, and that's overseen by KRESA as well. So, as we are transitioning and we're moving to an early childhood preschool focused campus to meet the needs of the community, we're going to have some vision changes here and some programming options. The first option is going to be our mixed age classroom. What that looks like is we have current students who who've been grandfathered in and enrolled, and as a commitment we've made to those families as the district, we are going to grandfather them in and provide programming for them until they reach that age of 3 and then can be eligible for our 3-year-old preschool programming. So we have quite a little unique program that we're going to be doing with that. Lloyd Nork's early child care is also doing a program like that as well, so we've been collaborating with them to help support their vision and bring that to light, what that will look like next year. We're also going to have preschool for our 3-year-olds. There's going to be 3 classrooms for our 3-year-old students. We're also going to have 4 4-year-old preschool classrooms, and that is going to be under the GSRP Pre-K for All initiative, and that comes also with the absorption of those programs no longer going to be at Woodland with the future construction coming and coming over into our building. So we'll be really a centralized preschool hub for all of Portage early childhood next year. So with that, we have a variety of ways that we are receiving our funding and subsidy as well as tuition support for our community. Our mixed stage and our preschool 3 classrooms will be tuition based as they are currently this year. But we also partner with KC Ready Fours, and families that qualify under their specific guidelines will get subsidy and tuition assistance. We've had a long-standing relationship with KC Ready Fours, and we plan to continue that next year. Being a new administrator this year, in that role, they have been immensely helpful to walk alongside and support us. So I'm excited to continue that relationship with them. We also have students who are eligible for DHS subsidy funding that can help qualify and pay for our tuition to help support their childcare needs. We're also going to have Head Start at our building next year. Now that's a federal program, federal funded program, and that's going to be still housed in our program, but under the KRESA umbrella, meaning KRESA will oversee all of the staffing, the day-to-day operations, and the programming. However, they're going to be blended into our building and included in all of our potential activities that they could be a part of, having access to same age peers, and for a majority of those students also being Portage Public School future students as well. We also will continue to have our ACSC intervention programs and classrooms. As we currently do, they will continue on in our building and continue the models of inclusion work within our preschool classrooms, also including their speech services and speech sprouts. And then we will be adopting that Pre-K for All GSRP funding. And so many of you may have seen in the recent announcements, that is what we're going to be doing for our 4 classrooms next year to utilize that GSRP guidelines and practices to support students in those programs. And that also comes with that state funding, that per pupil allowance to help us support those programs as well. And then lastly, you'll see at the bottom we have prime time. So as I mentioned earlier, you guys are familiar that Our K-5 buildings have made that partnership in 2022 with Primetime. We, Early Childhood, have also made a wonderful partnership with Primetime, and they are going to be providing our summer care and before and after care with our early childhood folks starting this summer, which we're pretty excited about. We have 76 families currently right now that rely on and access our before and after care as well as summer care. So we needed to meet the needs of those families in the community. So we brought on this partnership to do that, which is going to be wonderful because students or families who participate in that and choose to enroll will then also be able to continue on choosing to enroll in that in their local kindergarten through 5th grade buildings, and there'll be that continuity of services for our children as well. Funding sources. Not to go too deep into it, but I wanted to at least share kind of the big 3 ideas of what we're doing to allocate the appropriate funding to make this vision come to life next year, and also to support a stable budget. So with our early childhood funding, the first entity we're going to be using is our state-funded per pupil tuition, and that's through our GSRP programming that I mentioned earlier. We get a per pupil amount that we work with KRESA that allocates the funds into our funding to help support each of those students in that classroom. We're also going to continue our partnership, like I mentioned, with KC Ready 4. Currently, KC Ready 4 provides tuition support, subsidy, among many other things with 4-year-olds to meet the needs of other districts in the state moving to that GSRP and pre-K for all model. They are switching over and allocating those funds to support that for our 3-year-old programs next year. So they will be providing that same type of financial assistance as well as subsidies for all of our 3-year-old families that do qualify or reach within those thresholds, along with any of those families that qualify for DHS subsidy as well. And then lastly, we're going to continue on with our tuition-based revenue. That's going to be for our current mixed age group that I mentioned earlier. That is a combination of our infant and toddlers up to 2 years, 9 months, as well as for our 3-year-old preschool enrollment as well. So what is this pre-K for all that I'm talking about up here? Pre-K for all, like I mentioned earlier, is part of Governor Whitmer's initiative to help provide high-quality education and access for all of our earliest learners through the state of Michigan, and it also oversees our GSRP programming and funding as well that has been established in the state for several years. So our goals that align, and these align with our Portage Public School values and districts, is to help children succeed in kindergarten. We're also going to be helping our children succeed in a path to have tuition-free potential higher education with investing in our early childhood. Helping children form strong partnerships with their future employers through work-based learning and through other entities like CTE and partnerships. And then addressing educational issues at various stages of the student's learning career, which, trust me, starting at 6 weeks old, all the way, we are in many stages right now in our building, and we continue to adapt and support that as the development grows. We align with the Pre-K for All and MyLeap standards. Those are the standards that are based on the research that are designed to help early childhood professionals recognize individual developmental trajectories. And also these standards are designed to help a program to operate at our highest quality, which we plan to continue to do as well next year. Here are 2 of my current 4-year-old scholars. These 2 students are actually in part of our half-day preschool Bright Weekend programming and have been part of our programming since their early years of early childhood. What this also means for the district is aligning with our district vision and values through Portage is providing equity. So we're going to be making sure that we're utilizing those early childhood evidence-based standards that we are governed to align with, but also to seek and support the needs of all of our children with a full range of backgrounds and experiences through our community. And then as you see below that, those are the 6 fundamental factors of our early childhood philosophy in preschool that we will be incorporating and continue to incorporate in our evidence-based curriculum that we are currently using today and continue next year. And that's through play, relationships, individualized learning, guidance, exploration, and communication. Why invest in the benefits of early childhood? Well, we're already doing it as a district, and we've been doing it for a long time. And Curious Kids has been a very, and continues to be a successful early childhood program. Why we want to continue to do this is we want to really enhance and robust the programming that we're having to also align with our current state standards as well as our diverse needs of our community. We all know that high-quality early childhood programs deliver substantial return on investment. We know that by the age of 5, 90% of all the frontal lobe and neural pathways are fully being developed within our children, so capturing them during those pre-critical early childhood years is really important for the trajectory of their K-12 environment and educational journey. And then alignment with our district values of the whole child. I'm sure you have heard that as well, but Portage Public Schools adopts the whole child. Early childhood is really all about the whole child, and it fits those 5 different entities that are up there that involve cognition, physical, social, emotional, language, and literacy foundations to support our learners. Looking forward, these are our current 4-year-olds right now in one of our 4-year-olds Safe Harbor full day programming. And this was probably take number 47, but we got it. Most were looking in the current direction. So this is our current, these are your future young 5 and kindergartners that are entering our buildings for next year that we are getting prepared and working closely with for that transition. But looking forward, we want to just kind of share, we have, as part of our early childhood team and part of the conversations with working with our various administrative members, is to look into conversations about having an early childhood building as a conversation with the community and with the board. As many of you have had the opportunity to come and tour with me recently or in the past, Curious Kids at the CEC is a phenomenal building, but it's a well-loved and lived building. And so with that, we are continuing to address, modify, and amend currently to meet all the needs of our diverse learners, supporting all the different areas that we need. But in the future, we would really like to push and support and get the support of the district as well as the community to talk about looking at a different environment with physical structures that are going to be more conducive and more in alignment with our early learners here for Portage Public Schools, as well as more appropriate for their physical, social, emotional, and adaptive needs. So that is, something that would align with our early childhood philosophy and would be something that we would love to continue in the future and have that dream for that conversation as well. Lastly, I want to thank you. Here is Billy Graham. He is our Portage Fire Department, I believe he's the police chief. And I had the privilege of helping educate his child when I was in my days at Amberley. These are our 4-year-olds up here. We have many partnerships. We partner really closely with our SROs. Officer Burleson, Officer Henry Kite are constantly in our buildings, embedded in our preschool classrooms, and working really closely with our children. So when the transition to kindergarten and young 5s comes, there's some familiar faces that they've already been working with. We also work with work-based learning. Our local K-CREP accredited universities, such as Western Michigan University, we have 3 current early childhood interns that are working with us present day. And we continue to work with other entities such as the Portage Community Center, as well as KC Ready Fours. And we want to continue those rich partnerships and continue even enhance them even more next year. So without further ado, does anyone have any questions that hopefully I can answer?
Well, it's an excellent report. We don't review early childhood that often, so it was a great report to bring us all up to date. For me, this was a chart that was really helpful.
Yeah.
That helped me a lot to understand everything that you're doing there. So is the building going to be full next year with everything we're planning for 25, 26?
Every classroom will be filled with, if we have our intended enrollment fulfilled, every classroom will be utilized, yeah.
Wow. Wow. Are you going to have to add staff to do this, or?
That's a great question, and that was actually part of my presentation, so I'm glad you asked that. All of our current staff has been promised that they have a place here at Portage. So that is the coaching and the work that I'm doing alongside with working with our HR department and Brad and Kelly. We are going to be offering positions and going through that formal interview process with our current staff. With the legislation and the changes, we do have some requirements that some of our current staff do not have. So they're currently participating in some of our programs right now, like Talent Together, Michigan Reconnect, and CDA apprenticeships. And then with that being said, we will have to hire also additional staff and be opening that up to hopefully help find some robust individuals that can help kind of join that vision with us. Yep.
We had a special meeting before this meeting to discuss facilities, and we discussed the Curious Kids building. You have a really good way with words, because no one in our meeting described the building as well-loved.
Loved. We just survived the norovirus and influenza A last week, so we are well loved and clean, and we are continuing to go. Yeah.
So this is exciting, and I think it's good for our community to move away from thinking about K through 12 and start thinking about age 3 through grade 12. And I have a trivia question, and maybe either you or maybe Paula, but you know, like right now, what percentage of Michigan's 3- and 4-year-old kids have access to funded preschool? Because we're inching that way, and these programs are coming online, and I don't have a sense if it's 10 or 20% of them do, or if it's 50%. Do you have a sense?
I do. You want me to take that one, Paula?
Oh, by all means.
Yes. So part of the reason this initiative came out is there was a huge gap. Post-COVID years, there was about 40 to 50% of unidentified 3- and 4-year-olds not accessing preschool education and or any form of childcare prior to their kindergarten years. When this initiative came out early August of last year, they've been able to increase the numbers. So 44,000 3- and 4-year-olds throughout the state are now accessing that. So I don't have percentages, but I know that there has been an increase with this initiative. And then certainly there will be an increase with having this initiative with our programming as well. But if we reach our full enrollment cap, which we hope to do, we could have over 176 children accessing those services in our building. Yeah, you're welcome.
What age Head Start classrooms are moving?
It's just one Head Start classroom,
Okay.
age 3. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Lindsay. And
Right,
am I
welcome.
correct to say that we're kind of using the term early childhood rather than Curious Kids? We're kind of morphing into that descriptor?
Yeah, it more closely aligns with what the programming is really going to be offering for our community and district, and it more really encompasses all of our programming, our speech, our ESI, our Head Start, all of those. It is a true early childhood programming, so we're trying to be consistent and thoughtful on that, with honoring the fact that we're year 39 of being Curious Kids, and that's been a staple and a landmark for many, so we are transitioning to that verbiage for programming state. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
you.
And our last portion of the report is a financial update from Director of Finance, Paula Johnson.
Good evening, Superintendent Belang and Board of Trustees. I bring to you tonight a brief financial report. Included in your board packet are numbers through the end of January. The report does not reflect the budget amendment you are to approve later in the agenda. So just keep that in mind. Only a few things to touch base on. Under revenue, local payments from other districts, there's a variance there, and we received our KRESA enhancement millage payment sooner this fiscal year than what we did last year, so that caused a variance. Moving down to expenditure area, transportation, overall costs are up, and a lot of that has to do with salary and corresponding benefit costs in that area. Moving down to childcare services, costs are down a little bit compared to last year, and that has to do with the staffing change arrangement that we had with the YMCA. The second page of the report is laid out by object code, and I've mentioned this to the board before, and I think this will continue to show all the way through until the end of the year. Capital outlay expense is up, and that has still to do with those secure entryways as we work through finishing paying the pay-apps associated with those projects, paid for with Section 97 and 31AA funding. Just a couple other information tidbits for you. We closed on our third series of the 2021 bond issue earlier this month on February the 11th, so construction can continue for our buildings without interruption. And count day was February 12th, and we will work through a process to get final numbers together to CEPI to meet deadlines in March. March 19th and March 26th are certification dates, and that count rolls up to be 10% of our blended enrollment count for next school year. So just keep that in mind. And that's all I really have to report on tonight. Are there any questions?
Thanks, Paula. And lastly, just an update on the, I informed you that we had a water main break recently over at Amberley Elementary School. And we're still hoping that conditions don't change, that we can address that starting this Friday over midwinter break. The leak, our system seems to be handling the water that's being introduced into our boiler room, so that's being handled. As long as that's the case, then we can wait until Friday. We expect the work to be completed over the weekend, to get water testing out of the way on Monday, and worst case scenario is that we may have to provide bottled water on Tuesday when our students return, but we hope that we'll get clean samples by Monday night, so we have to do that. Keep your fingers crossed for, so that doesn't get worse. And we don't know the cause of it. It's, we had some extremely cold temperatures recently that may have contributed to it, but once the contractor gets in there and starts looking at it, we may get an answer to what happened there. That's it for me.
Thanks, Mark. I will now move to our comments and communications section. I believe we have 3 individuals who wish to address the board this evening. Our first speaker is Dennis Kozian, band teacher extraordinaire at West Middle School, and tonight he's playing the part of Cat Frink.
Not very well, so thank you. Good evening, my name is Dennis Kozen. I live at 5139 Maple Ridge in Portage. And as Randy mentioned, I'm the band director and 8th grade orchestra director at West Middle School, and I'm a co-union rep at West as well. I'm here tonight to share some positive stories from our PEA members that are taking place in classrooms throughout the district. I'd like to begin with Kate Twitchell. Kate was recently named Coach of the Year by the Michigan High School Coaches Association. Kate has been at the helm of the Portage Women's Lacrosse Program as a varsity head coach since 2015. Our PPS team is composed of players from both high schools. Kate teaches English and Spanish at Portage Central High School, and we're so proud of her and her dedication to our students. Next, I'd like to highlight the great work Kelly Bamey is doing at Woodland Elementary. Kaylee is collaborating with a retired Woodland educator and the current 5th grade team to collect plastic to be recycled through the Next Trek Recycling Program Challenge. If the school is able to collect and recycle 1,000 pounds of soft film plastics and packaging in a 12-month period, they will receive a bench from the company. This project helps to support the 5th grade ELA unit, where students learn about protecting the earth from plastic pollution. In the first weeks of the program, the school has collected over 140 pounds of plastic that would have ended up in a landfill. On Sunday, the annual Portage Central High School IB's Extended Essay Night took place. 42 IB diploma candidates presented their research essays to friends, family, teachers, and administrators. It was an awesome celebration of over a year's work from these incredible kids. Thanks to everyone who attended and supported the CHS IB students. Last Tuesday, my jazz band at West Middle School performed at the Central High School varsity basketball game. I want to thank the awesome principal here, Eric Albertus, and our new athletic director, Jim Schaefer, for allowing over 80 kids middle school kids to perform at the game while the game was going on. The kids had a great time, and it was such a cool thing for them to see what the high school environment is all about. And then finally, board, I'd like to invite all of you tomorrow night to our West Middle School 7th and 8th grade band pre-festival concert. It begins at 7 o'clock at Northern High School in the auditorium and features over 150 student musicians. Our 500-plus PEA members are doing amazing things in the classroom for our kids. Thank you for allowing me to highlight some of the positive things taking place here in PPS.
Thanks for being here, Dennis. We appreciate that. Our next speaker this evening is Lindsay Zerber. Welcome.
In the December 9th board meeting, while discussing the 5th grade book, The Breadwinner, a board member stated that they would be more concerned if the book contained sexually explicit content, as this could influence children's behavior. As we have continued to research Fish Tank, we have discovered this exact content across multiple grade levels to varying degrees. In the 4th grade book, The Wild Book, Lesson 8 includes a disclaimer for teachers, warning them that in this section of the book, an older man makes suggestive comments towards the main character, a 9-year-old girl, and offers her a kiss. In the Civil Rights unit for 5th grade, the first 3 lessons discuss rape. In the 9th grade unit, Me, Myself, and I, a short story used this year titled A Word from the Distant Past repeatedly uses the phrase dreaming or loving or screwing, and also states the following. At the risk of sounding old, we have to say, it's far too easy to get porn nowadays. We could drag out that first thrill, the quickly glanced magazine at the newsstand, the elaborately planned mail order for years. Now it wears off in days. We're glad it's less taboo. How are any of these appropriate learning materials for our children? In the article, Mental Health, Parental Rights, and Explicit Content in Public Schools, Doug Ketchajian eloquently pinpoints this issue when he says the following. When concerned parents voice their objections to such content, educational officials often respond with platitudes about the importance of inclusivity, without directly addressing the explicit nature of the material. They argue that these narratives are necessary, claiming that the inclusion of diverse experiences justifies the explicit content. He goes on to say that while literature has a responsibility to reflect society, it should do so in a manner that is age-appropriate and educational, not one that exploits the vulnerability of children. Schools should serve as safe places for learning, not as repositories for content that could confuse or distress young minds. By suggesting that parents who object to materials are indifferent to their children's well-being, school officials create a hostile environment for open dialogue. This not only stifles parental involvement, but also undermines community engagement that is vital for effective education. Parents have every right to demand transparency in educational policies that affect their children. In matters involving children, the voices of parents should hold more weight than the assertions of self-proclaimed experts. Parents should not be expected to needlessly trust the science when questionable practices are implemented in secrecy. The push for inclusivity must not come at the expense of our children's innocence or well-being. If, as a board member stated, you are here to do what is best for all students, when did normalizing porn and sexually deviant behavior become what is best for our students? Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. And we have a copy?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Our next speaker is Bethany Metzger.
I'm Bethany Metzger, and I stand before you this evening to discuss the deceptive way that this district handles parent requests. Parents can no longer make a simple request to view curriculum pieces with their child's teacher. Instead, they are now forced to contact administration and fill out forms which are not found on any district website before being allowed to view materials at the administrative offices. Given administration's historically slow response, this is a lengthy process, and by the time a parent is actually allowed to see the material, the unit is over. If this district stands behind the material that they are using, then what justifies the secrecy? Certainly, if you can hand it to a child, then there is no reason to keep it from an adult. Parents should never have to navigate bureaucracy to know what their child is learning in school. They are first and foremost the parent's responsibility, and no school district ever trumps that hierarchy. Secondly, the district is once again changing policy to make their reconsideration of materials procedures more secretive. Complainants are no longer allowed to present before the committee, but instead must submit a written or video complaint, making the district's history of being one-sided even more evident. How is this a proper response to correct the mistake made by the last committee when it was brought to light how obviously unbalanced it was? In the classroom, we are teaching children to speak out when they see a problem and work together to find a solution. But instead of the district putting this into practice, they continue to alienate, bully, and bury parental concerns under a mountain of forms and secrecy. Every day when parents send their children to school, they are entrusting their child's well-being to the district. Therefore, parents have every right to know that the district is nurturing their children, and asking for that information is not an outlandish request. Instead of learning from past mistakes, the district is choosing to hide behind a wall of duplicity. It is time this district works to rebuild trust through open discussions. You do not prove wisdom by doubling down on foolishness. Let's end the foolishness. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Bethany. We have those too. Very good, thank you. I will now move to comments by board trustees, please.
I wanted to say good luck to all the bands participating in district festivals. I believe it's Wednesday for everyone, and that is being hosted here at Portage Central for anyone who would like to attend and observe and support the bands that are performing.
Thank you, Kimberly. Sir.
I'm making eye contact with Susan. She's deeply involved with her device there. So Susan, so thank you to you and your team, and got to talk briefly to Colin Bosberg. And whenever we have an early meeting, the district will provide dinner, and it's always so well done, and very much appreciated, Susan. Thank you.
Anyone else? A couple of things. We continue to work on building a profile for our next superintendent to aid us in the superintendent search. And I just want the community to know that the online survey is still open, and it can be completed quickly, and it can be accessed on our portageps.org website. We also have a community forum set for 6 p.m. this Wednesday evening for community members, and that meeting will be in the administration building. The other thing at your places is this handout from KRESA, and they did one of these for every district in the county, so 9 different ones, but it shows you the ways KRESA supports Portage students, and I particularly think the information on early childhood, preschool programs, and the Career Connect is interesting information. We have 562 PPS students enrolled, juniors and seniors in CTE. So anyway, just a good reference, a good learning tool. And then I just want to congratulate everybody who participated in the Battle of the Books. Teams from each elementary school competed, and each team had to read 5 books and be prepared for questions. There were 3 rounds of questions, 12 questions in each round, and I want to congratulate the winner, the Mooresbridge Worm Agency team, and 2 teams tied for 2nd place, and that were the Amberley Page Peeps and the LeBron Bookers from 12th Street. But it was a great event. It's a very difficult score, and so there's some downtime waiting for the final scores, and a number of the kids had posters, some of them with lights, and they were cheering, themselves and others on. It was a great event, and anyway, thanks to all the teachers and parents who made that possible for the kids. So, anyone else?
I wanted to tell you thank you for pointing this out. I had missed it, and I want to point out that there are 42 Portage students involved in early middle college, that this provides a opportunity for students to receive a certificate or a associate's degree, both of which allow them to graduate from high school with a wage earning job, a head of household wage earning job. That, many people say we should improve the trades. This is. but it is more than just the trades. With the associate degree, it gives them college credits before they enter a four-year university, if should they choose to do so. It is an amazing program, and I'm glad to see so many have entered the program.
Yeah, I think that number's up from previous years.
I believe so, and I'm glad to see that because it is such an amazing program. Students even receive mentorship, that they meet with a mentor on every other week, I believe, basis, so that they learn how to do college instead of just being thrown into college.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll move to our consent agenda on page 7, and we have 4 items tonight. First, the February 10, 2025 Policy Governance Retreat and Committee of the Whole Work Session Minutes. Second item is that we approve the June 2026 Portage Northern High School Music Department student trip to Ireland, as was presented to us at the last meeting. And that we approve the purchase of 3 10-passenger vans from Tapper Ford LLC in Paw Paw, Michigan for a total of $203,916, the funds for which will come from the 2024-25 general fund. And that was reviewed with us last week. And finally, that we approve as presented the sale of a parcel on the campus of Portage Northern to Mark and Beth Koenig, Koenig Real Estate LLC, in the amount of $35,000, which was also discussed with us last week. Are there any exceptions to the consent agenda as presented?
One comment. It wasn't last week, it was last meeting.
I'm sorry, last meeting.
I just want to make sure that what we're approving is what we're approving.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any exceptions? The consent agenda is therefore approved. Our next item is on page 45, a required action item to vote for an MASB Board of Director as part of the MASB election. And there's a motion here, and we probably ought to have a discussion on who we would like to support before we move forward. And does anyone have any comments or a preference here? If not, I do.
Please.
I'd like to propose that we support Tiana Harrison. Tiana has been on the board of Kalamazoo Public Schools for 11 years now. She served as the KPS board president, and she's also local, and she's accessible to us.
And yes, we
Totally
see her
agree.
at least 4 times a year at the county school
Right.
officers' dinners.
We can tell her what's wrong and ask her to fix it. Yep, yep. Well then, if we're in agreement on that, if there could be a motion.
President Van Antwerp, I move that the Board of Education cast its vote for candidate Tiana Harrison to represent MASB Region 6 in the 2025 MASB Board of Directors election, and authorizes Barb Atkinson to cast the board's vote via the online ballot provided by MASB.
Thank you, Terry. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of Tiana Harrison as our representative to MASB Region 6, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. And we'll now move to our action item. The first action item, which is the 24-25 budget amendments that were presented to us at our last meeting. Is there a motion, please?
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the general fund budget appropriations resolution for 2024-25, amended budget number 1 is presented.
Thank you, Bo. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion or any questions for Paula or Sammy?
Covered extensively 2 weeks ago. All within our parameters as defined by policy.
We told you you did a good job then, so.
Paula, Sammy, both of you, I'm always impressed with your attention to detail with this.
Thank you. Then, all those in favor of approving the 2024-25 budget amendment, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Bye. Okay. Anyway, Our next action item is the National School Breakfast Week Proclamation. This is not a controversial motion. If somebody could bring that motion on page 60, that would be great.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the National School Breakfast Week Proclamation as presented.
Thank you, Kimberly. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. And you know what, Kimberly, if you bring the motion, you typically get asked to read it, the proclamation.
Very
so
well.
If you wouldn't mind.
First comment that I so appreciate food that gives students the ability to concentrate while we are teaching them as teachers. And even though I'm not in Portage District as a teacher, I appreciate the food service that the students receive that I do teach. So I assume it is similar also. Now I'll read the proclamation. Thank you for that opportunity.
We're not going to include what you said in the proclamation.
That's fine.
All right.
I still share my appreciation personally.
All right.
It's appropriate.
Okay, it is. Good.
Okay. Proclamation for National School Breakfast Week, March 3 through 7, 2025. Whereas it is with great respect for the accomplishments of Portage School food service managers, servers, cashiers, driver personnel, and substitutes that we commemorate March 3rd through 7th, 2025 as National School Breakfast Week. This special observance presents an excellent opportunity to emphasize research outcomes that students who eat breakfast are more alert, have improved memory and problem-solving skills, and perform better on standardized tests. We encourage all citizens to recognize the dedication and skill of our school food and service employees. And whereas each day, a total of 27 food service employees prepare and serve over 1,800 breakfasts on an average day. This is in addition to ordering, storing, and expediting each menu item to each location, adhering to food safety, sanitation, and nutritional guidelines, as well as giving each customer the time and consideration to listen, hear, and deliver what they were looking for each day. Fortunately, we have exemplary professionals who have devoted their careers to providing high-quality service to our children and staff. And whereas on behalf of our young people, it is a pleasure to commend the women and men who accept and meet the challenges of school food service. The observance of School Breakfast Week is a welcome opportunity to thank these patient, caring, skilled public servants. Those involved in this pursuit should be very proud of their contribution to education. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education that we proudly commemorate March 3 through 7th, 2025 as the National School Breakfast Week. And we commend everyone who has contributed to the successful operation of our breakfast program. By working together, we can make a difference in every student's life. Proclaim this 24th day of February, 2025, the Portage Public Schools Board of Education.
Thank you, Kimberly. All in favor of approving the National School Breakfast Week proclamation, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion, the proclamation passes, and another shout out to you, Susan, for all the good work you and your team do. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. And now we have our final item on the agenda is revisions to bylaw 0142.7 orientation. And you notice there's a few things that were added to this. Yeah, from what it was originally. And one is we had to make reference to the fact that the MASB Superintendent Evaluation and Rater Reliability Training is now required for all board members. And the other thing was the memo from Mark from May 8th, 2023 about how we handle the change order process here. Both of those things are valuable to new board members. And then there's a handout at your place that looks like this. And this is something that Mark developed a few years ago to help board members understand the difference between what is board approved and what is administrator approved. And I'd like, you're okay to put that in this as well. I think it's valuable to new board members. So we will, I guess, vote on this at our next meeting after Barb has a chance to modify the bylaw. So with that, we have reached the end of our agenda, and we are adjourned. Please turn in your board meeting evaluation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Randy.
great thing, you know?
Yeah,
It really is.
it helps, yeah, I mean,